Alright, let's talk about this Stranger Things ending. Because the reaction to it says way more about us than it does about the show. And quick warning, I'm talking about this series finale here. So if you somehow haven't finished it yet, this is your spoiler warning. You can't be mad at me after this point. Cool? Alright, cool. When the finale dropped, I did what everyone else did. I watched it. I sat there with all the hype, the expectations, the trailers, the interviews in my head, and then I went straight to the comments. Reddit, YouTube breakdowns, TikToks, all of it. And there was this pattern. They ruined the whole show. 10 years for this? All that buildup, and the final fight was mid. Worst finale ever. You know how wild that is? We're talking about a show that ran for almost a decade, multiple seasons, insane performances, moments that literally defined Netflix. And people were ready to throw the entire thing in the trash because the last 60 to 70 minutes didn't match the movie they had already written in their head. Like, forget about the journey, forget about the characters you fell in love with, forget about the nights you stayed up binging it. The ending wasn't what you wanted, so the whole show is invalid now. That's basically what a lot of people were saying. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Once you watch the documentary and some of the interviews, you realize the Duffer brothers weren't sitting there in a peaceful cabin taking 10 years to craft one perfect final script. They were under pressure. Netflix wanted the show done. The budget was insane. Season 4 alone was reportedly around 30 million per episode. Netflix spent about 50 to 60 million dollars per episode. This was the flagship show, the big one. In the making of Doc, they literally admit they went into production on the final season without a fully finished finale script. They're rewriting under the gun, being hammered by Netflix about the last episode, trying to land this giant plane while it's already in the air. So from the outside, it looks like, bro, you had unlimited money, the best actors, the biggest platform, and this is the best ending you could come up with? On the inside, it was more like, hey, you have the biggest show in the world, the entire internet is waiting, here's a brutal schedule, here are 10 studios breathing down your neck, and by the way, don't mess this up. That doesn't excuse bad writing if you think it was bad, but it explains why it felt rushed and weird for a lot of people. And there's a lesson sitting inside that. Because I kept seeing this take. How do you have all that budget and still not nail the ending? And I think we do that in our own lives too. We look at ourselves and go, I had the time, I had the tools, I had the opportunities. So why didn't I create this perfect result? We judge our endings the same way. The end of a relationship, the end of a friendship, the end of a job, the end of a chapter in our life. We zoom in on how it ended and go, well, because it ended badly, the whole thing must have been a waste. But if Stranger Things taught you anything, it's this. You can have insane resources, talent, money, and still not deliver a perfect finale that makes everyone happy. Even the top level guys couldn't pull off a universally loved ending with all of Netflix's power behind them. So what makes you think your life is going to tie up every storyline with a perfect bow? Another thing that stood out to me. People didn't just dislike the ending because of what happened. A lot of them disliked it because it wasn't what they pre-wrote in their head. They wanted more deaths, a bigger, crazier final battle, a more brutal upside down, a certain character to live or die or sacrifice themselves, a last second twist that never came. They had their ideal fanfiction, and then when the real ending didn't match that script, they called it trash. Not, it's different from what I imagined, but it's objectively bad. And that's exactly what we do with life. We quietly write our own endings. Me and this person are going to end up together. This job is going to turn into my dream career. This friend group is going to be with me forever. By 25, 30, 35, I'll be here doing this, living like that. And then the real ending comes out. The relationship falls out in a messy way. The job lets you go. The friend ghosts you. The group drifts apart. The timeline doesn't happen. And instead of saying, okay, this is not the ending I wanted, but I still appreciate the seasons we did get, we say, that entire story was a waste, the whole chapter was a lie, I hate it now. We let a disappointing ending rewrite the meaning of everything that came before it. Look at how some fans talk now. This ending ruined Stranger Things, it ruined the show. Did it though? Did it erase the experience of watching the first few seasons? Did it erase Eddie, Max, the earlier days with the kids? Did it erase the excitement you felt waiting for a new episode? Did it erase all the nights the show made you feel something? No. The ending might change how you feel about the show as a whole, but it doesn't actually delete what it did for you at the time. That relationship that ended horribly, it doesn't erase the version of you that grew inside it. That friendship that died weirdly, it doesn't erase the years you actually needed that person. That dream that fizzled out, it doesn't erase the skills you built chasing it. Just because the finale wasn't clean doesn't mean the seasons were meaningless. And there's another layer people don't talk about. The Duffers are human. We treat them like some perfect writing gods who owe us a flawless goodbye, but they're just two guys trying to land a plane in a hurricane. You can literally see, now that the interviews are coming out, they're kind of regretting how much they explained the finale after the fact. They're asking people to cut them some slack because the backlash is heavy. That's another life lesson buried in there. Sometimes you're writing the most important episode of your life while it's already shooting. You don't have a finished script, you're under pressure, you're tired, people are expecting greatness, and what comes out is imperfect. Sometimes you nail it, sometimes you don't. The same way you had one shot at that finale, you have one shot at certain moments in your life, and sometimes it's going to feel rushed, chaotic. That doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means you're human in a high pressure episode. The easiest thing is to judge from the couch. They should have killed this person. They should have written a totally different final act. With that money, I could have done better. We do that to ourselves too. We sit on our couch thinking about the past. I should have did this, I should have did that. Maybe. But you didn't have perfect information. You didn't have a paused timeline. You had a messy, real-time situation and a human brain. And the ending you got is the ending you got. At some point, you either accept it or you keep replaying it forever and let it poison the entire story. So here's the real lesson I took from Stranger Things ending. Not every ending will feel deserved, in fiction or in life. Sometimes the buildup feels bigger than the final moments. That doesn't mean the journey was fake. Having all the utilities doesn't guarantee perfection. They had money, time, talent, a massive team, still ended up with a finale a lot of people called rushed and underwhelming. Having resources doesn't make you a robot that outputs flawless work. Your expectations can ruin things more than the actual ending. If you walk in demanding your fanfiction ending, you're almost guaranteed to be disappointed. Same with relationships, careers, and life milestones. And the last thing, a messy last chapter doesn't cancel everything out that came before. You're allowed to say, I didn't love the way it ended, but I still appreciate what it meant. So if there's one thing to take for your own life, it's this. Don't let one chapter rewrite the whole book. Don't let a finale you didn't love make you pretend the entire show was trash. You're not going to get a perfect writing on every episode of your life. Some things will be rushed, some decisions will age badly, some endings will feel flat. But the story can still be worth telling. The question isn't, did it end exactly how I wanted? The real question is, did it mean something while it was happening? And what do I do with it now? Because the Duffers can't go back and reshoot that finale, just like you can't go back and reshoot your past. All you can do is learn from it, talk about it, and try to rewrite the next season of your life a little more honestly. And perfect endings are normal. What you do after them, that's where the real story is.